If you were to just simply listen to what Toyota is telling us, hybrids are, well, they're nearly as good as EVs. They barely pollute. Hybrids are a phenomenal choice, and they are part of Toyota's pathway to net zero. Now, how exactly Toyota are going to get to net zero with hybrid cars, no one actually knows. In fact, Toyota themselves don't know either. However, a lot of people believe Toyota. They think, well, Toyota, they're honest, right? They tell the truth. Well, no, they don't. Here are the actual facts. Hybrids pollute 5 times more than an electric car. And possibly, it's even worse than that. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. You know what? Great to have you with us. And thank you to our Patreon supporters and our YouTube members. Really, probably couldn't do this channel without you. It's my full-time thing, and I absolutely love it because, you know what? Electric cars are the future, and the world will be a better place. It'll be a better place for our children and their children as a result of the decisions we're making today. Now, speaking of decisions we're making today, if you really think hybrids are clean and part of the solution, I'm sorry, you are simply wrong. It's really that straightforward. Now, having a look at the actual numbers, the ICCT, right? It has shown that as in 2024 hybrid vehicles, emissions are 4.9 times higher than EVs. Now, I don't know how they've worked that out because EVs don't have any emissions. And when you talk about the life cycle of EVs, guys, I just made a video literally 1 hour ago showing used EV batteries being repurposed for mega batteries, being repurposed for people's home energy storage, being used for a multitude of things like caravans, all kinds of different things. So realistically, the life cycle of emissions of an EV are nowhere near what we think they are, because in addition to all of that, once the EV's batteries are finally worn out in decades, they can be completely recycled. You would never ever throw out a lithium battery pack. Now, I know there's a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of these absolute wankers are making these videos saying that there's hundreds of thousands of Chinese EVs sitting around. You know what? There are some. Guess what? They have lead acid batteries because they're junk, or they are petrol powered cars, which I pointed out in that video. I said, guys, stop talking crap. I can see all the petrol caps on those vehicles. They are not EVs, but some of them were using lead acid batteries. They're really cheap bargain EVs from a few years ago from ride-hailing companies. The truth is, you would never leave an EV to rot. The batteries are simply too valuable. And that means the life cycle emissions are much lower than what experts have been saying. When it comes to plug-in hybrids, on average, they are about twice as polluting. But that assumes you actually drive the thing as an EV most of the time. And unfortunately, many people with plug-in hybrids don't do that, as we know from European data, which shows in Germany in particular, people with plug-in hybrids rarely even drive them as an EV, which is crazy, but it's true. ICE SUVs emit about 7 times more emissions than EVs, about 7 times more. It's well known that EVs produce zero tailpipe emissions, but scrutiny often falls on manufacturing and disposal. The truth is, though, you don't just dispose of an electric car battery. You use it for many different purposes. Anyway, a new study by the International Council of Clean Transportation, or the ICCT, says that EVs are the clear winners when it comes to vehicle life cycle emissions, particularly when charged with renewable energy. I should point out, many EV owners, they buy an EV, and if they don't have solar already that they can charge their EV with, they actually go and get solar. That's one big positive. But even if you're not doing that, even if you're plugged into a grid and your grid happens to be a dirty one and you're using coal power to power your EV, it's still much, much cleaner than internal combustion or a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. For the average 2024 model year vehicles in the United States, the environmental impact is incredible. So-called self-charging hybrids, which are a marketing myth, they emit approximately 2.2 times more than a plug-in hybrid and 2.5 times more than an SUV over their life cycle. So a lot more. Plug-in hybrid vehicles for both body types emit twice as much. In contrast, internal combustion engines, SUVs, produce 3.5 times the emissions of equivalent EVs. These figures were based on vehicles charging from a dirty coal-powered power grid, or gas or coal, whichever. When EVs are powered by renewable electricity, hybrid SEVs emit 5 times more pollutants. Internal combustion SUVs, 6.7 times more. 6.7 times more, and that's throughout their entire life cycle. The ICCT says that net greenhouse gas emissions over a vehicle's life cycle encompass emissions from battery and vehicle manufacturing, so that's the actual manufacturing process that's included, feedstock and fuel production, vehicle use, and end-of-life disposal. Now, this comprehensive measure, basically they've looked at it from every angle you can think of, well, they say they have anyway. This shows a clear view of a car's environmental impact, and it kind of cuts through the bullshit we're seeing from companies like Toyota, who say that hybrids actually don't pollute any more than fully electric cars, which is obviously just utterly ridiculous. So the above assessment updates an old analysis from 2021. According to that study from 2021, life cycle emissions of the average EV sold in America in 2021 were about 57 to 68% lower than those of a gas-powered vehicle, depending on what charging network was being used. So between 57 to 68%. But they're now much cleaner. For a direct comparison, the updated numbers for 2024 show that EVs are 66 to 74% cleaner compared to internal combustion, or up to 85% cleaner if you use renewable energy. That's a big difference. And remember, these numbers, as far as I can tell, don't include the fact that at the end of an EV's life, you don't just simply dump the battery. They are being used. Guys, jump on eBay if you don't believe me. If you're a person who is watching this channel, I know some people who watch this channel hate EVs. Very weird, but that's true. Guys, if you're one of those people, please go right now, jump on eBay, jump on online, and you'll find that EV batteries are being sold for a lot of money in old battery packs. A lot of money, people are using them. They're all being used. They're not going to landfill. They're not being wasted. You'd have to be mental to do that, considering people are getting up to $10,000 for a used battery pack. The ICCT also made projections for 2030, when the environmental benefits of EVs are expected to be much greater. Life cycle emissions of internal combustion SUVs from 2030 will be at least 7.5 times higher than those of an equivalent EV. The study says that plug-in hybrids and hybrids have more limited potential for reducing greenhouse gas emissions compared to future electric cars. So basically they're saying it doesn't matter if it's a BYD plug-in hybrid that can do 2,000 kilometers on one tank. I don't know if that's really true, but they say that they can. It doesn't matter. There's still less scope for a plug-in hybrid to reduce emissions in future than a fully electric car. What do you guys think about all of this? Personally, I think it's pretty obvious that this is true. I don't think there's any exaggeration going on here. If anything, they're probably understating the enormous positive benefit of buying an EV versus buying a hybrid vehicle. Thanks for watching.